Speaking of incentives, over 100 investors of the Solar Energy Development Association in Egypt are asking the Minister of Electricity, Mohammed Shakar, to reduce custom tariffs on imports of solar panels. Recently, the Egyptian government announced that it would impose custom tariffs on imports of solar panels up to 5% after these panels were completely exempted from customs duty over the past years. Joining us to discuss further is Ugo Aliogo, who's a public policy analyst. Ugo, you're welcome and Happy New Year. I think I'm seeing you for the first time this year, yeah? I guess start in Nigeria. The conditional cash transfer numbers, we're talking about it a lot on the African Business Update on the morning show this morning. What do you make of those numbers? 2 million, but there's apparently a waiting list of over 10 million and they've onboarded 2 of them, so there's another 8 million. Each of those households are 5 to 7 people. So,
yes, 5 to 7 people.
That's a lot. What
so
do you
they said 5,000 naira for a household.
Yes.
And then I imagined, when I was in the mathematics, I now imagined I'm married with my wife and 2 kids.
Right.
So what is 5,000 naira to us?
Basically less than 1,000 for each of you.
So what would he do?
What will they buy, right?
What will he buy in the market?
Yeah.
Now that I have escalated food prices in the market, what will he buy in the market?
Did you say 2 kids or 3? You
said 2 kids.
Okay,
yes.
no, so it's a little over. Okay, a little over 1,000.
So,
I thought you said 5.
So what is 5,000 naira for you as an individual? What is 5,000 naira?
Right.
Would it be enough to fuel your car?
Right. Okay.
So we'll have to set this thing in perspective, and then let's look at who brings this data. What is the source for bringing this data?
Apparently, it's the Federal Ministry of
How verifiable are these data?
Yeah, okay. It's from government. I mean, who else would you look at for this data? It's coming
because
from
what I'm asking how verifiable is that yesterday I was at an event where the Minister for Environment was there, and then we're asking that question. We said, how much does Nigeria lose to wildlife, illegal wildlife poaching? How much does she couldn't give me the data?
Okay.
And then she referred us to the Director of Forestry, who also told us that they are working on the data on that.
But while we're on the subject, Q3 capital importation data for Nigeria, I think it's delayed. The Bureau of Statistics was supposed to have released that already.
So we have data problem in this country, and then they come up and give you statistics. What is 5,000 to an average Nigerian?
Are you saying that 2 million number could be higher? That there are more Nigerians that need help from these issues, and maybe it's overstated or understated? That's what you're saying, that we don't have enough.
Apart from not having enough data,
this
is social investment programs. When they are set up for a short-term period, to alleviate poverty
and get them on their feet,
and get them on their feet.
So they can be
but
proactive.
For Nigeria, we're trying to make it a permanent program. So we have Empower, we have Shopee, and many other social investment programs. What has been the result of those social investment programs? Do we do monitoring and evaluation for each year to see the ripple effects of this social investment program, to see the people that are being impacted, to see the household that are lifted out of poverty? And then if they are lifted out of poverty, there should be something substantial they can lay their hands on to be doing that could be fetching them income.
Jobs.
So we now turn social investment program in Nigeria to a Father Christmas, where you be doling out money, as it were, money that we don't see. And then government comes up and give you data to bamboozle the average Nigerian and tell you that 10 million people, they have been feeding 10 million school children. How?
Bamboozle is a strong word. I want to ask you about jobs, because there was something that we discussed earlier this morning, Rufai and myself on the morning show. We were leaning a little too heavily on technology, saying that the federal... You saw the president's interview, right? He's done a lot of interviews. He said everybody should go back to the land. And we were just harping on tech, like tech is the food, and ignoring agriculture. We were kind of dismissing agriculture a bit, which was, in hindsight, perhaps not the best. Can you touch on, since you're talking about jobs and productivity, agriculture's importance to Nigeria's economy? Let's touch on that.
Last year, December, I was on this show, and then I talked about the 80s, the 70s. And then I said those were the glorious years. And then you kept telling me, everybody keeps talking about that year, those periods, those times. And then I told you that during those years, 70s, 80s, those were Nigerian glorious years. Nigeria was next exporter of many agri commodities. Granite. We had the granite pyramid in the north. We had cocoa in the south, in the southwest. We have many agri-produce, because the discovery of oil has become more of a curse than a blessing until we fix our priorities right. So the first thing it has to do with, where do we want to develop our nation? what is our own development agenda for Nigeria? Do we want to focus on agri? If we want to focus on agri, what are the commodities who have comparative advantage? Okay. Where do we want to invest? This is the only country where Nigeria is among the top producers of cocoa beans in the world. We don't have a local chocolate processing factory. In Nigeria, we still depend on Europe and then America for chocolates.
True. Oh, Ivory Coast and Ghana in that group as well. They are
in that group as well.
Yeah, but same.
Ivory Coast account. They don't have a chocolate. They don't have a cocoa crushing machine. So we'll have to decide. Okay, we want to invest in agriculture. What are the key commodities we have comparative advantage? If you know how much olives take in terms of raw materials, agro raw materials from Nigeria, cashew nuts and what have you, and then they go to Europe, they go to Asia, transform these things into finished product and bring it back, and then we are buying it. So we have turned to be a country where we are import dependent, and then we're becoming a dumping ground for all kinds of commodities, and 90% of these commodities are gotten from our country. If we want to invest in agriculture, we'll have to look at the key areas, the key commodities. We'll have African Continental Free Trade. Yep. We can decide that what we're presenting in African Continental Free Trade is agric. What are the key commodities we'll have comparative advantage?
Right.
We should start producing those commodities in Nigeria and then start selling within the African sub-regions.
Which will boost jobs.
Which will boost jobs so and then boost industrialization.
Food security. That's another very important
point. So that will also address the issue of food security.
Okay.
And then I told you that in the UK, food is one of the cheapest commodities. They have built food security to a level where it's enough to feed everybody.
Right.
So these are the areas we should look at. Technology is good, no doubt.
Yeah.
But we have arable lands. We have the manpower.
Right.
We have the population. We have the market. So why is it that government is not looking in that direction? And even when they look in that direction, it's lip service. They launch initiatives and then they make so much noise about it. At the end of the day, it doesn't go down. It doesn't trickle down. What is the ripple effect of some of those initiatives?
I want to quickly get your thoughts on Zainab Ahmed saying that the government does not plan on sacking any workers because President Buhari doesn't want to add more people to the unemployment line.
Yes.
And that instead they want to look at incentives to ease them into other professions, training and so on. What do you make of that?
I don't think we should be talking about, if you say you want the workers to leave, you're not thinking of sacking them, you want them to leave. What is the plan?
Well, she said job training and, incentives
so
and so on.
If you now say job training, it now tells me about what is the plan of government regarding the civil service.
Right. Okay.
I go back again to 80s and 70s.
You love doing that?
Yes, I love doing that because, like you rightly said, those are the glorious days.
Best days of Nigeria, yeah.
Those days, the civil service was the signature of eyes for job creation in Nigeria. It wasn't the private sector. The civil sector was striving. People loved, they said, when I finish, I want to be part of the civil service because it was well positioned. There was a focus. There was a plan by government to strategically position the civil service. It was the best. It was the hope of government. But today is a shadow of itself.
So should the workforce be reduced?
The workforce shouldn't be reduced.
Oh, it shouldn't be?
It should be, what is the plan of government? Government has set a plan in place for the civil service.
But you're showing how hard it is. So give me an answer. Should the workforce be reduced or should they be? Well, how do you do? Governor, 30 seconds.
Now, if you talk about reducing, you have now focus on retraining.
Okay, so that's what Zainab Ahmed is saying, right?
So if you don't focus on retraining, and then you must have a plan. Not just training, not just going on retraining. You should have a plan. What is the plan? Where do we want to develop our country? So the retraining should be along those lines.
That's why you're a public policy analyst, always talking about training, about planning and strategy. Ugo Aliogo, public policy analyst, thank you so much for joining us. Appreciate your time.